Hello everyone, welcome back. Today we're gonna do G43 trigger assembly. All right, so I've got here a G43 that I just took apart because I was having some trigger issues. And what I think I did is in trying to debug this, I basically, because I had some slide drag and I thought it was coming from the trigger fin over here, and I believe I filed this down too far, and it's not active. Basically, it's not lifting up my plunger spring. Okay, so I also did smooth this out a little bit. So we're gonna see after I change this, if I still have problems, then I'm gonna have to go back and change the plunger in the slide as well. Okay, but we're going to start with the trigger assembly, and we're going to see how that goes. Now, I've been messaged a couple of times by people on how to put this together, because this is a Gen 5 trigger group as opposed to all the other aftermarket frames that are Gen 3. This is a Gen 5. Now, one of the things that is worth mentioning, the slide catch, okay, that comes with your frame. Okay, so the one that comes with the parts kit, right, and this one is from KG Karis. Okay, wait, KG Karis. I bought a few of these from eBay. They work fine. Occasionally I have some problems, but like I think I had a problem with this one over here before, but I've had a few of them that work fine. If at all possible, get Glock OEM. Okay, Glock OEM, especially on a G43, wherever possible, go Glock OEM, because the aftermarkets just haven't been around that long. However, it's really hard to get parts. I did manage to get an OEM recoil spring. That's really important because the aftermarket springs are garbage. The firing pins that come with the slide part kits, those are garbage. I've got an AIM surplus billet striker in here. All the firing pins that came with the aftermarket pits, I've broken the heads off of all of them. Okay, so as I was saying, we're gonna use the slide catch that comes with the parts kit. We get a dish here to put stuff in. By the way, some of these, I'll do a separate video on this. Some of these kits come with plastic pins. Don't use the plastic ones. The plastic ones are garbage. I've broken them a few times early on when I didn't know better and I was using them. I had headaches that took me a lot longer to debug. So this trigger here, like I said, was having problems to begin with, but I think I just completely killed it when I went too far on grinding down the shark fin. I'm going to put that aside. I'm going to mark it in the bag that says bad, because I can still use the housing on it and some other parts. The trigger spring will be fine on it. So let's get these parts out. Okay, so let's see what do you call it? The slide lock we're not going to use because that's already in the frame. Okay, that's pretty easy, right? There's a coil spring that goes in there, right? You hold down the coil spring and you just push that across, right? So that's not too different than the G26. There's a coil spring. The coil spring comes with your frame, I think. So look for that when you get the frame. Look for the coil spring in your bag. The pins, same thing. I'm going to put them on the side in case I ever need them, because these pins are going to be fine. The same deal with the magazine catch. Going to keep that on the side. Although usually with the slide catch, I do have to file it down from the inside so that the Glock OEM magazines will fall free. Okay, so oh, by the way, there is a recoil spring. There is a coil spring in here for the slide lock. So maybe I was wrong. It doesn't come with the frame. The G26 I know comes with the frame. But this one over here looks like they gave you a coil spring for the slide lock. I'll put that on the side because these are things that are easy to lose. But the slide catch that comes with the parts kit, that you're just going to put on the side. You're not going to use that. You're going to use the one that comes with the frame, which is right here. Okay, so what we're interested in right now is the trigger group. which is pretty confusing to a lot of people, including me, because it is a Gen 5. Okay, so this is the confusing thing right here. The housing, pretty straightforward. The trigger bar, pretty straightforward. It's nice that they already inserted the connector for us. Keep that right there. All right, so the focus of this video is how to assemble the trigger spring. Okay, in fact, that's what I'm gonna call this video: assembling your Glock 43 trigger spring, because that is confusing. Because this is a Gen 5, which is a compression spring, compared to all the other aftermarket frames, which are Gen 3, and they use a stretchy spring. Now, if you're using all Glock OEM parts, the trigger spring is normally the most vulnerable part of your Glock Gen 3. I've broken more OEM Glock trigger springs than any other part. If you're using aftermarket parts, then I would say I've probably broken more firing pins. Okay, but the stretchy spring of the stretchy trigger spring of the Glock of the Gen 3 is the weakest point in the gun. In the Gen 5, they made it a compression spring. So let me see. So the way this works, you take a little. I haven't done this a whole lot of times. So you take this over here, you take this spring, and you push it. Hold on, do it over here so you can see against the. So here's this piece here. You're gonna basically insert it in like that, right? And hold it close to the camera. See if you can see it right there. There you go. You insert it like that. Now, if you notice, there's a slant over here, right? So that's gonna the slant, the ramp, right? See how there's a ramp over here. The ramp is gonna go up. I drew a picture over here so I wouldn't forget it. So there it goes. Try to get you to focus. Okay, so that's how it goes. So that it curves down, and then this part here curves up, right? You see where there's that little part there? So that's probably, there you go, like that. Now you can kind of see it. So it goes like that. So that's probably one of the most confusing things about this. I've had to look this up a few times every time I build one of these to figure out how to go. So you throw the spring through there, and then what you do is you take this piece over here, and you're gonna basically just push that through the hole here, that hole there, and then you're gonna twist it. Like I said, I had to make a drawing of this so that you push it through sideways, and then you turn it, right? And I can see that, yeah, nope, I did it backwards. I gotta turn this upside down. There it goes. Okay, so that's, a little piece of paper here. Here you go. Here you go. That's what that's gotta look like. See that? See the direction that curves in? That's the most confusing part of this thing. All right, so now what we're gonna do is, if you look on your housing, there's like, oh, this is gonna be great. Problem is everything's black here and it's hard to see shit. Okay, so if you look on this thing over here, there's two holes. I'm gonna light on this. Let me see if I put a light on it. You guys will see it easier. There you go. You see the holes there? All right. So there's like two T's. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through the top one and push it down to the bottom. Okay, so what I did is I went in from the back side, right, to the top one, pulled it through, pulled it down to the bottom one, and pulled it through again. Okay. I hope you guys were able to see it. I know it's a really hard thing to see because basically everything is like small and it's a black housing. So what we're going to do now, and you know, I figure if if you watch this video, maybe you watch a couple of videos. In each video, you might see a little bit more. That's why it's worth putting a lot of videos out there, because no one video is going to show you everything perfectly. So what we do now, I'm going to basically, this piece right here is going to go, basically you got the cruciform over here, right? So this is the back over here. That's the back of your sear. That's the front. That's the part that's going to hook. This front part right here is going to hook in there. Okay. So I'm going to basically pass this through. I'm going to get underneath it. All right, see how I got underneath it? And then you basically pull it through, and then it comes through on the outside here, and there it is. Right, and you can see how that's your Gen 5 trigger assembly. Okay, so it is a compression spring, so it's supposed to be, I mean, I can visualize without anybody telling me how this would be superior to a stretchy spring. All right, so let's get this thing back together now. So we got our, we got this together. We already got the rails in there. So the way this works is we got to drop in. Drop the trigger in first. Normally I don't have too much of a problem getting this in there, but today it wants to be a problem. Go right in. There you go. Okay. Okay. Actually, it doesn't. You know what? I was expecting it to kind of come through and catch like the Gen 3s, but it doesn't, because it basically, yeah, it just goes straight down. So here you go. So let's do this again. I haven't taken this out in a while. All right, let's try this again. Let's pull this thing out, pull it back in. Okay, so actually with this one, you just place the front in and then push down in the housing. There you go. All right, so that's how that works. Should have done this with like an FDE colored frame. Actually, next time I build one with FDE or something, I'll redo this video so you guys can see it better. All right, so that goes in. Next thing that we're going to do is we're going to take the slide catch, and that basically you can, there's almost like a little circle thing over there where you can see that holds the spring over here. We're just going to kind of drop that in place to the side of the trigger bar. Okay, and then when that goes in place, then you put your rails, which is also your locking block, which is something I have forgotten a couple of times, because if you put your rail in first, you won't be able to get your trigger in there. So G17 is the only one where you can get your trigger in and out without having to remove the rails. With all the other ones, you have to remove the rails in order to get the trigger in there. Okay, so everything's in place. What we're going to do now is put our pins. Let's put the one in the back in first. And these should go real easy. Yeah, these don't even need any hammering or anything, just because I've been in and out of this gun so many times already. Push it a little bit deeper. Not too far. Let's leave you right there for now. Okay, so now we're gonna put the bar, the front pin that goes to the front. That goes in real easy. Actually, I should probably put a little lock tight in there. I'll do this later because that's going in a little too easy. Yeah, once I know this is working, I'll probably pull this back out and put a little lock tight in there. The one in the back over here is, there you go, it's a little bit better. Came through better. Good. Let's get the trigger pin in now. Let's pull this out, see where we line up. Basically, you can look through the hole to get an idea of how far forward you gotta push your shark fin. See how I'm pushing on the shark fin over here? I'm really not trying to push it through it. If it's not going in, it's just because it's not lined up. So I'm not hitting it hard. There it is. See, it just went through. So just by pushing it with my thumb, it went through. So you really don't need to push. So now with this, you may have to wiggle. And one of the things I'll do is I'll use a light. Okay. Okay, the light gave me an idea of which way I needed to push the slide catch in order to get into. There we go. Oh, that's the position. Okay. That's working. Actually, I want to do one more test. Hold on, let me get a pencil. Okay, I got a pen here. Because remember, the whole issue that we were having is that shark fin was not pushing up high enough on the safety plunger to move it out of the way. Whoa! That thing went flying. All right, so that firing pin is definitely, coming through. Shit, freaking thing almost stuck to the ceiling over there. So that was a test to see if the because remember the whole issue I was having is I filed down the shark fin too much, so that it wasn't pushing up high enough on the safety plunger. And basically the firing pin was not coming through, and in order to hit the primer. So yeah, obviously you saw that pen go flying, so it's working. If you do it with a pencil, I think I did with a pencil. Let me find a pencil. There you go. I have to find a pencil. So with the pencil, it's obviously it's got more rubber in the back. So let's see. Shouldn't go flying as far. Let's see, does it go flying? There you go, see, all right. So do this with the pencil. So you push this down. All right, so the firing pin is coming through. All right, so that is how you assemble the Gen 5 trigger group. So I hope this video was useful. Drop some comments below. Find me on Odyssey, which is an uncensored platform. Odyssey spelled ODYSEE.com. And my channel name over there is Pocono Tactical. Now, let me go outside, try this out. All right, so this is the G43 that we just changed the trigger group on. Let's test it out. Goes all the way to lock out. So that's it. It was the trigger group. It was just a faulty trigger group. Initially, I thought I had a problem with just too much slide drag, but it was. I mean, who the hell knows what it was? I'll never be able to figure out exactly what it is. I'm gonna now test this out in my left hand, one-handed. That's the real test to see how good your gun is. There you go. All the way to lockout. This is now a good gun. Still, obviously, I still got to do a bit more shooting with this. But when you can shoot it in your offhand, one-handed, and it goes all the way to lockout, you know that you're pretty close to having a very reliable gun. So, hope you guys enjoyed the video. Drop some comments. I'll talk to you all soon.